Picture this: a busy apartment in Seoul. It's dinner time. A 5-year-old knocks over his bowl of rice, and it splatters across the floor. He freezes. He looks up at his mother, bracing for the reaction. And she just kneels down beside him. No raised voice, no sharp look, no threat of consequence. She hands him a small cloth and says quietly, "Let's clean it together." And they do. 5 minutes later, the floor is clean, the child is calm, and dinner continues like nothing happened. No drama, no tears, no lingering tension in the room. If you've ever watched a Korean parent in action and thought, how are they so calm? You're not alone. Because Korean children are consistently observed to be remarkably emotionally regulated, socially aware, and cooperative, not because they're controlled or suppressed, but because of a deeply rooted parenting philosophy the Western world is only beginning to understand. And by the end of this video, you'll have 3 of its most powerful principles, ones you can start using today, no matter where you live or how your child is wired. In Western parenting culture, the instinct when a child misbehaves is almost always the same. Stop it, fix it, punish it. Time out, privilege removed, voice raised. And it works. For about 5 minutes. Then the cycle begins again. Korean parenting starts with a completely different question. Not, how do I stop this behavior? But, what does my child need to feel right now? That single shift, from control to understanding, is at the heart of everything. Korean child rearing is deeply influenced by a concept called Nunchi. There's no perfect English translation, but it means something like the ability to read the room, to sense the emotional atmosphere around you, and respond with awareness and care. Korean parents don't just teach their children rules, they teach their children to feel and to respond to feelings wisely. And here's the extraordinary thing: they model it first. Korean mothers are known for their emotional restraint, not because they suppress emotion, but because they've trained themselves to feel before they react. That pause, that breath, that moment of self-awareness before responding, children absorb it. They copy it. They internalize it, long before any formal lesson is taught. Behavioral researchers call this co-regulation. When a calm caregiver remains steady in the face of a child's storm, the child's nervous system actually synchronizes with the adult's. The child doesn't just calm down for now. Over time, they build the internal wiring to calm themselves. The punishment approach bypasses this entirely. You stop the behavior, but you never build the skill. Here's where most people get Korean parenting wrong. They assume that because Korean children are so composed and well-mannered, their upbringing must be rigid, structured, cold even. The opposite is true. At the center of Korean family life is a concept called Jeong. Jeong, an untranslatable word that describes a deep emotional bond between people, a feeling of being so connected to someone that their well-being feels like your own. Koreans often describe Jeong as something that grows slowly, quietly, over time, through shared meals, through daily rituals, through simply being present together. Korean mothers are extraordinarily emotionally close to their young children. The relationship is warm, physical, consistent. A child raised in Jeong knows in the deepest possible way that they are loved. Not conditionally, not based on behavior, but simply because they exist, and this changes everything in the brain. Neuroscience has confirmed what Korean culture has practiced for centuries. A child who feels securely and unconditionally attached to their caregiver develops a more regulated nervous system. They don't need to act out to get attention, because attention has never been withheld. They don't need to test boundaries to feel safe, Because safety has always been present. Correction, then, happens inside this container of love. When a Korean mother redirects her child, the child doesn't experience it as rejection. They experience it as guidance from someone who is entirely on their side. That's the difference. In many Western households, discipline feels adversarial, parent against child. In Korean homes shaped by Jeong, correction feels collaborative. We're in this together. I'm helping you become who you're meant to be. When the love comes first, the structure follows naturally, and children rise to meet it, not out of fear, but out of a genuine desire to belong. Have you ever noticed that Korean children tend to be remarkably responsible at a young age? It's not coincidence, it's design. Korean parenting places enormous value on what might be called daily ritual, small, consistent acts of responsibility woven into the fabric of ordinary life. From a very young age, Korean children are given real roles in the family, helping set the table, folding laundry, preparing their school bag, greeting elders a specific way, tidying their space before sleep. These aren't chores with reward charts attached. They're not punished if they forget. They are simply expected, warmly, consistently, patiently, as part of what it means to be a member of this family. And something remarkable happens when you repeat a behavior long enough without pressure or performance attached to it. It becomes identity. The child stops thinking, I have to do this, and starts thinking, this is what I do. This is who I am. Psychologists studying behavioral development call this identity-based habit formation. When behavior is tied to who we believe we are, rather than to external reward or punishment, it becomes self-sustaining, durable, deeply rooted. Korean parents understand this intuitively. They don't raise children who follow rules. They raise children who have internalized values. And that is an entirely different and far more powerful thing. The practical application is simpler than you might think. You don't need to overhaul your household. Pick one small ritual this week. Maybe your child sets the table before dinner. Maybe they place their shoes neatly at the door when they come home. Maybe they say thank you before every meal. Not because they're forced to, but because this is what your family does. Do it every day. Don't make it a negotiation. Don't attach a reward. Just hold the expectation with warmth and consistency. Give it 3 weeks. Watch who your child begins to become. Korean mothers aren't calmer because parenting is easier for them. It isn't. They face the same sleepless nights, the same tantrums, the same impossible moments that every parent faces. They're calmer because they operate from a different philosophy entirely. One that says, my job is not to control my child's behavior. My job is to build my child's character. Nunchi, emotional awareness. Jeong, unconditional connection. Daily ritual, identity through repetition. These aren't Korean secrets locked inside a single culture. They are human truths, backed by developmental science, tested across generations, and available to every parent right now, starting tonight. The next time your child melts down, try this. Don't react. Breathe. Kneel down to their level. Ask yourself, what do they need to feel right now? And lead with that. You might be surprised how quickly the storm passes and how much calmer you both feel on the other side. If this gave you something to think about, share it with a parent who needs to hear it. And if you want more on child psychology and how the world's most emotionally intelligent cultures raise confident, resilient kids, subscribe. There's a lot more coming. See you in the next one.